Hey everybody, welcome back to Soft Wash Evolution. In this video, we're talking about the equipment trap. What I mean by that is all the other YouTube channels, everything on social media, the videos that feature the huge trucks with the enormous wash equipment, trying to market to the new guys saying, buy this rig. Sure, it's only $40,000 or $50,000. You also need a $120,000 truck to haul it, but this is what makes you money. If you're new, you don't need one of those things. I'm going to show you mine right here behind me. I've featured it in other videos before. I'm going to show you exactly what you need to be focused on buying and save your money on some other things. So this is a skid. This goes in the back of the trucks. You could do a trailer or a skid, or you can really do a van if you want to. It depends on what you plan on doing is the problem. Most guys get caught with, well, I want the biggest and the best. That way I can take on the big jobs that make the most money. I want to be able to do entire parking garages and the huge restaurant and the storefronts and everything. So I need a big 10-gallon a minute pressure washer with a downstreamer. I need a 32-inch surface cleaner. Yeah, if you're doing flat work, then yes, absolutely. Biggest pressure washer you can get, highest pressure, and you're gonna want a big surface cleaner. If you're like me, where you flat work is more of an add-on service, there are no concrete driveways where I am. I'll do a few walkways, patios, things like that. I've got a 24-inch surface cleaner and a 5.5-gallon a minute pressure washer, and it does everything I need. I also use it to downstream. I do have a remote, my downstream injector, a bypass, so that saves me time. A lot of guys get into the trap, they buy the big stuff and think, I need to go as fast as possible to save me time because my time is my money. Well, if you don't have an entire schedule full of customers where you are flat out all the time, then you don't need to be saving time. What you need to be doing is work on marketing yourself so that you can get more customers to fill that schedule to work that big $150,000 rig you've got. The guys will all the time, well, I need the big one. I got to save time. I got to save time. So they end up finishing the 2 jobs they have by noon, and they're sitting around the rest of the day putting Facebook posts out saying, I'll do anything for $99. Well, good luck paying off that huge rig you got. Start small, smaller pressure washer, surface cleaner. Downstreaming's great. Get a downstream injector. If you're going to be doing roofs, yes, get a blend manifold and a dedicated soft wash pump. Soft wash reel, hose, gun, stuff you see behind me right here. If you're not roof cleaning, you can get away without even having the soft wash system. You can use your downstreaming as your soft washing. If you ever get into like stucco or brick cleaning where it's really, really dirty, you're gonna need more than 1.5%. Yes, you're gonna need a dedicated soft wash pump. You can get away with batch mixing. It's not quite as effective. You end up wasting a little more. But if you don't have the money for the full setup of 3 tanks, the blend manifold and everything, go ahead and batch mix. You can get away with a 12-volt pump, 1 tank, and some hose, and you can soft wash with that too. It doesn't shoot very far, the 12 volt. You're going to be climbing a little bit to reach those roofs, but it can be done. So don't fall into the trap. You don't have to go out there right now and buy the biggest rig in sight. Of course, they're going to sell it to you and show you how to use it and show that you can make millions. And then they're also going to sell you a course on how to wash. And then they're also going to sell you another training course on how to get the customers. You got to have the customers first. You'll know how to do it in a couple washes. Do small ones first. Do a couple decks and patios. Do your own house, do your neighbors, do your friends, family, coworkers. Start with vinyl siding, work your way up to some painted surfaces, some porous surfaces. Learn how to wash downstream. The other stuff will follow. Don't get caught in the trap of buying the big, huge rigs. Another reason why this kind of spurred, because on the way here, this customer I'm doing right now, I'm just wrapping up. I passed one of my competitors, and it was 2 trucks, 2 big box trucks. Think of the big UPS style trucks. That's what they have. There actually are, I think, UPS trucks that they bought at auction, lettered them up, and they have, I know because I've seen them. I'm friendly with the guys. We're not personal, but I know who they are. They've got an 8-gallon a minute pressure washer, which is pretty big, 2 500-gallon tanks in the back of those trucks, and a ladder on the side, and that's all they do. They downstream out of them, but they carry 1,000 gallons of water everywhere they go. According to them, I've kind of asked a couple times just out of curiosity, why do you carry water everywhere? And they say because we have to. Hooking up to the customer's water sometimes doesn't feed these big machines, so we like to make sure we always have water. So they have that enormous truck, which I'm sure it wasn't that expensive because it's older, but the thing is not efficient. There's no way keeping it running is low maintenance and low cost. And to carry, water weighs 8 pounds per gallon. If you're carrying 1,000 gallons, just do that math real quick. Carrying all that weight, I've never hooked up to a customer's water supply and had to wait more than a couple minutes. I have a 100-gallon tank, and I'm actually going to do what I do on every job right here. I have, I think probably 30 or 40 gallons left in it. I'm done with this house. I have another house, I think it's 5 miles away. It's very close. The valve gets opened, and away we go. I am dumping all of the water that is in my 100-gallon tank onto the ground. I don't need it. That's just extra weight. My 100-gallon tank is a buffer tank. It is not a water storage tank. That's just one of the things. It all depends on your area. If you're in a really rural area with a lot of wells and they struggle for water everywhere, maybe it is worth it getting a bigger tank, a storage tank. That way your machine's not starving. But it all depends on where you're working. Again, if you're in the suburbs or urban area where there's municipal water, a 50 or 100-gallon tank is plenty. It's just a buffer in between the machine and the water source. It's one of those things some people see, well, I've got a big machine, I need huge water tanks. No, you don't. You're not carrying it. It makes no sense to carry that water unless you're going way out in the middle of nowhere. And if you are, you should be charging for that water delivery service. So some things to think about. It's the same way with the soft wash pumps. If you're just getting into it and you're not doing a lot of roofs yet, not doing a lot of big commercial buildings, you don't really need the big gas-powered soft wash pump yet. I do all of mine with a 24-volt electric, which is comparable price-wise to a gas-powered pump. You don't need one of those either. Start with a 12-volt. 12-volt, batch mix it at first, work your way up to a blend manifold and 3 tanks. You could build these things yourselves. It's cheaper to start with a trailer. You can get a little 8 or 10-foot trailer, buy one used, build it out. There's a ton of videos on how to do them. Maybe I'll put one together. I used to have my 12-foot trailer built out. I moved to a truck skid. And it's another thing with these truck skids. Mine's pretty big. This is a double-decker skid, they call it, because it has the ladder rack and the surface cleaner rack on top. A single layer skid would only go right there where you see the hose reel. I've got 3 hose reels, 4 tanks, ladder rack, surface cleaner rack, a pressure washer, a soft wash system. Big box right there you see is my electronics. I have 2 batteries in there because I have a big lithium 24-volt running the soft wash system. I've got a chemical loading station on there. And that's a Chevy 2500, 3/4 ton HD. That skid empty weighs almost 900 pounds. So if you've got a small truck, well, a regular size truck, like an F-150 Chevy or Ram 1500 series, those are half-ton trucks. That skid empty is going to be almost maxing that thing out. Will it carry it? Sure. You're going to be wearing out tires and brakes real fast on your pickup if you start overloading them, and it's dangerous. Good luck stopping it when you hit the brakes. So if you're going to want one of these bigger skids, think about getting a bigger truck. Sometimes it's easier to pull the trailer. Pulling weight on the ground is different than hauling it in the back of the truck. You'll learn that real quick. Steering and stopping is not fun with these big heavy skids, which is why I don't carry any water. I carry about 40 gallons of SH and 20 gallons of soap. That's plenty of liquid for me to be hauling around. So the equipment pitfalls you can run into real quick. Just do some research. Think about what you need. Think about what you're going to be doing. Obviously, everyone wants to plan for the future. Well, I want to plan ahead and get those big jobs. Start with the smaller ones and scale your equipment instead of your business. That means have something buildable. That's why I usually tell people to start with a trailer. Trailer gives you more options to move stuff around. Like I started with a 100-gallon water tank. I was and then a batch mixing tank. I can downstream pressure wash or soft wash out of the batch mix tank. I've got a ladder. I've got a surface cleaner. Now you work up, well, I want to get a bigger pressure washer for doing more surface cleaning. Okay, sell your 5.5 gallon, get a big 8 or 10 gallon. Put that on there. There's plenty of room. Now you want a bigger water tank to get some bigger jobs that are further out. Good, take that 100-gallon one off of there, put a big 300 in there. Now you want to get into soft washing, add 2 more tanks and have blend manifold. Now you can do everything with that trailer. If you want to move to a skid someday, break the trailer all down, sell all those pieces, or move it to a skid. Skids are a little more compact. You got to have different tanks to fit on these things, but it's just things to think about. It depends more on what you're doing and where you're doing it than what you want to do. Just do that. Don't go buying the $50,000 rig right away. Make sure you like and subscribe.